Fat Joe versus Ja Rule. Man, can we talk about this versus? Y'all ready? It's lit.
I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy Bright here, the R&B Kid. Welcome back to another episode of On the Bright Side TV. And on today's episode, I want to do another Verzuz review for y'all. We gotta talk about this Fat Joe and Ja Rule Verzuz, which went down a few nights ago on September 14th, 2021. Two legends in the game. I love and respect both of these men. I feel like both of them, funny enough, are actually two very underrated artists from their era. You know, so I mean, I guess Fat Joe is 90s too, I guess, but really, if we're talking 2000s, like really, Ja Rule and Fat Joe are two of the most underrated guys in terms of the hits they brought to that era. Shout out to Fat Joe and Ja Rule for their careers, two kings, two New York legends. Shout out to this Verzuz. I was very much definitely looking forward to it, even though I didn't think it was the perfect matchup. Like when I first heard about this Verzuz, I was like, ah, damn. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, I'll take it, but for me, this really wasn't the battle that we needed. It was definitely amazing, but I'm talking like before the battle happened, this was my thought process. My thought process was like, listen, I'll take this, but this is not really the battle that we need. This is not the battle that we needed. And you know, to be honest, it's a shame that we didn't really get 50 Cent versus Ja Rule, because to me that would have been perfect. I know we are obviously never going to have Ja Rule and 50 battle, you know, whether privately or in person. Like, we're never going to get that. They don't rock with each other. We're never going to see it. But to me, it's a shame that 50 couldn't get over himself and that Ja Rule couldn't keep the peace in his own way to make that happen for the people and for the fans and for the culture, because that to me would have been perfect. 50 Cent and Ja Rule, not only because of the beef that they've had, but also just because I feel like they have like the same amount of hits from their heyday, like, and they also were two of like the, you know, the sing-songy rappers that were hard as hell but had records for the ladies. Like they were two of those guys from that era. So I feel like it would have been perfect, no matter what personal beef they had. I feel like it would have been perfect if we had it be 50 and Ja Rule. To me, that would have been perfect, but it is what it is, man. But definitely after watching the Verzuz on Tuesday night, and that's another thing, Verzuz, y'all gotta stop doing these shits during the weekday, like between Monday and Wednesday. I don't mind a Thursday or Friday Verzuz. Preferably, I love the weekend, you know, either Friday or Saturday or Sunday for a Verzuz. I'll take a Thursday night because Thursday going to Friday. But we gotta chill with these Verzuz on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights. Like, nah, that's not the business. It's not fun. You know, we all gotta go to work and school the next day. Like, that shit's not fun. Like, give us Verzuz on a weekend night. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta chill with that. That's just me. Let me know what y'all think. But yeah, so. But after the Verzuz battle actually happened, I was like, you know what, okay, even though we couldn't get 50 and Ja Rule, honestly, this was still great. I'm glad it was Fat Joe, because Fat Joe ended up being really a great alternative to 50 Cent for me when it came to Ja Rule. And I just think he was a better alternative than I actually thought he was. So salute to Fat Joe. For some reason, even though I know Fat Joe got hits, I was like, I don't think musically it will be the best match, but actually I think it worked out pretty great. And if 50 can't have, if Ja Rule can't have 50, then I really can't think of anybody else that would fit besides Fat Joe. So I'm actually glad it did work out the way it did. And it was pretty good. It was a pretty good battle overall. So I enjoyed the show. And Jesus, man, what a battle it was. Like, in terms of just, you know, New York energy, shit talking, hits flying back and forth, especially in the second half. Like, yeah, it was a great battle. Good viewership. So I'm happy for Fat Joe and Ja Rule that they got their flowers. Like I said, the two kings in our game. And they you know, especially in the 2010s moving forward, they've not really done much in terms of hits, but you know what they did give us, and they have, between both of them, they have plenty of timeless hits. So they both have definitely made their mark in the game, and I'm proud of both of them. And it was a great battle. They definitely were getting a little bit annoying, a little bit extra with the, you know, with the shit talking at many points throughout the battle. I was kind of over, but at the same time, I'm like, they, you know, they gotta go into fight mode. You know, it's the Verzuz energy, and they had a crowd, so that makes it even, that gets the artists even more hype. We got a whole crowd. Ain't nobody have a mask on. I wasn't surprised, but you know, the pandemic is obviously over for many people in this world, so it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Alright, so to start off the night, we had DJ Don DeMarco start playing his set. And honestly, I was kind of over it. Shout out to DJ Don DeMarco. I have no issues with him, but my man's had no energy for his set, and he was playing a whole 90 set for 2000s artists, which to me, I guess it was okay as a warm-up, but you know, for a versus battle between two, you know, artists that were really doing their thing in the 2000s, I was okay with the 90s set to warm up, but I kind of just wanted to get straight into the 2000s for the vibes because we have so many songs we can play. So the 90s set that DJ Don DeMarco played was cool, but I was like, this is a 2000s battle, so whatever. And he had like no energy, so I was over it. Yeah, so Don DeMarco didn't really like, you know, help intro in the battle in a great way, but it is what it is. And then who we have? We had Technician the DJ come through, and for me, he just turned it all around. He turned it up for me. You know, Technician the DJ did his thing. He's been a staple resident DJ for Verzuz. He always does his thing every time. He definitely killed his set, giving us, you know, a lot of 2000s vibes, a little bit of 90s stuff here and there, but a lot of 2000s bangers. He did his thing, definitely setting the mood for the night. Shout out to Technician the DJ. He did his thing. And then we finally had Fat Joe and Ja Rule come out, and they came with all the energy, shit talking smoke from the jump, and I knew it was gonna be a long night of brothers, two people who love each other but who just had to get this shit off. So I was preparing myself mentally for all this shit, and I was ready. Alright, y'all, so that was how the battle started out. Now let me go into each round. I'm gonna talk about the songs that were played and who I thought took each round. So y'all ready? Let's go. Alright, so first we start off with round one. Fat Joe and Ja Rule came out after the DJ announced them, and Fat Joe was like, listen, like, I've been waiting for this my whole life. I've been waiting for this my whole life. Y'all gonna learn tonight. And I was like, oh, Fat Joe was ready to prove a point. I ain't mad at him because y'all be sleeping on Fat Joe. And then Ja Rule came out to like one of his songs, and I was like, Ja Rule was showing how much of a superstar career he's having. He's like, I'm gonna come out to a song like I'm a fucking star football team. Like, that shit took me out. And yo, I'm not gonna lie, they started round one with Fat Joe playing Flojo, and then Ja Rule played It's Murda. And I'm not gonna front, I looked up Flojo and I was like, oh, I know this song, but I didn't realize it came out in 93. And I'm like, damn, I didn't realize Fat Joe has been out since like 93. I'm 27, so that was like around the time I was born. But that's my bad. But I'm like, damn, I didn't know, low key, I feel bad. I'm like, damn, I'm stupid. I didn't know if Fat Joe been around since 93. Goddamn. So yeah. So round one, we had Fat Joe play Flojo and Ja Rule play It's Murda. And shout out to Fat Joe. I really appreciate Flojo, but for me, I give this on to Ja Rule because I just feel like I like the beat on It's Murda a lot more. I like the vibe of that record. I like the way it flows more. No pun intended. But Flojo is still a good record. So if you gave it to Fat Joe, I'm not mad at you at all. But for me, I just like It's Murda a little bit more. So that was round one. And then for round two, we had Fat Joe play My Lifestyle, and then Ja Rule played Can I Get Her, his song with Jay-Z and Emil. Classic record that we all know. This is a really interesting round. I do appreciate My Style, but obviously I gave this round to Ja Rule because Can I Get Her, even though he only had one verse in that song, Can I Get Her is still like, you know, one of like the best hip-hop songs of all time. Classic joint banger. Shout out to Jay-Z, shout out to Emil. Classic song that we all love, so I give this round to Ja Rule. But this round was funny as hell because Ja knew what he was doing, because I think at this point he already played 2 songs with Jay-Z. Ja knew that Jay-Z was the cheat code in Verzuz, and he definitely played his cards well. Fat Joe is tight. Yo, I feel like they start arguing back and forth. Fat Joe like, you keep using all these Jay-Z records, like you cheating, Ja. He say stuff like that, and Ja was like, well, it don't matter. I wrote these songs, like I wrote them. I could play them. It don't matter if Jay-Z's on it. So they were fighting. It was funny as hell. And then for round three, I'm not gonna front y'all. I don't know what songs were played in round three. I felt bad. So for me, you know, Fat Joe played a record, and then Ja Rule played a record. I'm not sure which records were what. I don't know either song in this round. But for me, I enjoyed Fat Joe's song and his performance more. So I give this round to Fat Joe. And then for round four, we had Fat Joe play Paper Touchin remix, as well as a song that has a Shook Ones Part 2 sample. I'm not sure which song it is in his catalog, but he has a song that has that sample in it, so he played that song. And then Ja Rule played Holla Holla. Shout out to Fat Joe. I like the songs he was playing, but I give this on to Ja Rule for Holla Holla, which to me is just a more memorable, fun banger that I still remember to this day. And I have more of an affinity for that song than the songs that Fat Joe played. But this was a pretty cool round, but I give it to Ja Rule. Alright, and then we have round 5. This is a really interesting round because Remy Ma came out and shut that place down with her energy and with her bars. I love seeing her pop out and support her brother Fat Joe. So then Remy came out and she performed a song with Fat Joe that had an Ante Up sample. I'm not sure what the name of the song is that they got together, but it's like a song they got together, maybe off like a mixtape or something, but it had an Ante Up sample. It was dope. And then Remy did another song. She did like another verse off another song that she has that was dope. I don't know what song that was either, but it was cool. Remy was spitting crazy. And that Ja Rule fired back by playing Between Me and You with him and Christina Milian. I'm not surprised Christina Milian didn't show up, but I would have loved to see her, but I'm not surprised she showed up for like one song. I'm not surprised. But shout out to Between Me and You. I gave this round to Ja Rule because even though I have to talk about it, like, yo, it was so good seeing Remy Ma pop out. Shout out to her. I love seeing her pop out. She did her thing for round 5. You know, her and Joe just good, good chemistry, good synergy. They were both spitting crazy, just real hip hop, on energy on stage. I loved it. They were just in sync, and it just felt like classic hip hop vibes. So I love seeing Remy and Fat Joe on stage. They were killing it. Even though I love what they were doing, to me, I just have more of a love for Between Me and You. I love that song. It's just like a memorable childhood banger. So I love that song a lot more and have more memories with it. So I gave a song to Ja Rule for Between Me and You. But I definitely want to salute Fat Joe and Remy for just going crazy during this round on stage. It was dope. So yeah. And then at this point, Ja Rule, after he played his song, he talking about, listen, y'all got me effed up. I was everyone's like, middle, high school, college memories for like 6 summers straight. And I was like, Ja Rule, he's definitely not lying. He's telling all facts. He's not lying. From like 98, 99 to like 2004 or 5, Ja Rule was shutting everything down. Like, can we talk about it? But Fat Joe fired back. He was like, but listen, like, we ain't seen you since like that. But that's the point, Ja. Like, where you been since then? And I'm like, yo, why they go at each other like this? Like, this is so funny. Yo, Fat Joe had energy for Ja. I was here for it. It was so funny. So yeah, man. So after that point, they go into round 6. At this point, I'm realizing that even though I love Fat Joe's like showmanship and performance ability a lot more than Ja Rule's personally, Ja Rule had them hits and was just knocking the crowd and Fat Joe over the head with these hits. And I was like, damn, I don't know, this might be a long night for Fat Joe, or he might come back and actually, do his thing. So we'll see. At this point, I didn't know what was going to happen, but at this point, I did know that even though I'm feeling Fat Joe's energy more in terms of the battle, I'm like, Ja Rule just got an arsenal of hits. Like, he got weapons galore. Like, Ja Rule got these hits, you know what I'm saying? So, and for round 6, Fat Joe played All the Way Up while Remy was still there, which was definitely fair enough. And then Ja Rule played Livin It Up, another classic staple anthem from the early 2000s that we all still know and love to this day. This is definitely one of the hardest rounds for me. Round 1 was hard too, but this is definitely one of the harder rounds as well. There are way more coming up, but this is definitely a hard round. I love both of these songs. All the Way Up is like a new classic, and Livin' It Up is an old classic, so this is a hard round. Both great songs, but I did pick Ja Rule's Livin' It Up with Case. That song just hits different to this day. I love that. It's such a bright, feel good, like, summer 2001 anthem. Like, we all love that song still to this day. So shout out to Case for killing that record, and Ja Rule did his thing on it as well. I love that song. I do love All the Way Up. I love that song, but I had to give it to Ja for Livin' It Up. So let me know what y'all thought about that round. Oh yeah, and quick little note, I was over it because I think after Ja played Livin' It Up, he was like, I don't need no guests, I don't need no help, you got Rem over there with you, I'll do this by myself. And I'm like, Ja Rule, I'm like, 95% of your songs, especially that are hits, Ja Rule, are all collabs. Like, just because you don't have a guest up here with you, don't mean Case wasn't like the magic sauce of Livin' It Up, like, as well as all the other songs that had a guest vocalist on it. Like, Ja Rule be spitting crazy. He knows a hit when he hears it, but at the same time, Ja, don't front like you made all your records by yourself, because you're a great writer, you're a great rapper, but it's like you also have mad collabs. Like, don't front like that. Like, so I was over it. And then before round 7, I was weak because Joe was roasting Ja Rule's involvement in the Fire Festival saga, drama, all that shit. I was weak. I was waiting for Fat Joe to mention Fire Festival. I was waiting for it because we all knew it was coming. When he mentioned it, I was weak. And then he did a little song rapping about some shit before. He was talking about how he put Khaled and like Big Pun on, and how he put mad people on, and really did a lot of stuff in a lot of people's career that people don't really talk about to this day. And I was like, that's kind of true. Like, and like I said, I feel like Fat Joe's mad underrated with like his involvement with like a lot of people's careers and certain songs that we might not know about. But yeah, so I'm glad he talked his talk, but it was mad funny just seeing him roast Ja for the Fire Festival. I was like, yo, Fat Joe, you giving people all them sandwiches and shit, man. Goes for the next song. I'm like, yo, Fat Joe, chill. Then we go into round 7. Fat Joe played Still Not a Player by Big Pun, classic record. And then Ja Rule played Down Ass Bitch. Interesting round. I definitely gave this round to Fat Joe. Down Ass Bitch is a cool record that I don't have that many memories with, but it was a cool record when I heard it. But I definitely had to pick Still Not a Player for this round. So for sure this goes to Fat Joe. Even though this wasn't Fat Joe's song, Fat Joe was a part of this record. That was his artist, so he gets all the love for playing this record. And this round definitely goes to him, hands down. So for me, this was Fat Joe, but let me know what y'all thought about this round. And then we go into round 8. Fat Joe played Ha Ha Slow Down, and then Ja Rule played Put It On Me, one of his biggest songs with Lil Mo and Vita. classic record. I love this round because Lil Mo and Vita both popped out, and I went crazy. I was like, because I love Lil Mo. She don't get enough flowers, but Lil Mo is one of the best voices in R&B from her era. Still such a lovely spirit and person to this day. I love seeing her around. I love Lil Mo, such a legend. Crazy, crazy songs that she was a part of, and her own records too. Love Lil Mo. So I love seeing her pop out. She looked amazing, as well as Vita. I ain't seen Vita in mad long. I'm like, oh shit, look at Vita. She still look good too. Both of them. I love seeing both of them pop out. It was such a good moment. That's another thing. I'll talk about this later, but the ladies definitely ran the night. Like, shout out to Fat Joe and Ja Rule, but the ladies just were coming through all night doing their thing, and I loved it, showing how important so many women were to some of the biggest records of that time. Like, whether you were a singer or a rapper, like, so many women were the key elements of so many big hits for a lot of guys back in the day, So shout out to all the women that were on stage during this battle. We're gonna talk about Ashanti later. But yeah, man, so I love this round, and I definitely gave it to Ja Rule for Put It On Me. Haha So Down is cool, but Put It On Me, classic, iconic, timeless record that we all still love to this day. That is one of the staples from our childhood, from my generation. We love that song. Classic, you know what I'm saying? And that was just a great moment seeing Mo and Vita pop out. So this round definitely went to Ja Rule for sure. And then we went on to round 8. For round 8, Fat Joe played Don Cartagena and Ja Rule played Thug Lovin'. Cool round, kind of a boring round, but it was still what it was. It was funny because at this point, I don't know if it was just me, but them mics was just fucking up. Like, the mic sounded like, not even just at this point, I feel like at several points throughout the night, the mics were just fucking up, and like the feedback sounded weird. It kept going in and out. It didn't really mess up the vibe of the performances themselves. Like, Fat Joe and Ja Rule and other artists were still doing their thing, even through the mics kind of going in and out. But it was a little bit aggy to hear it, so that was annoying, but it is what it is. And then during this round, Ja Rule was talking about, Joe, how you gonna call, women all types of bitches and disrespect women, when he just performed a song called Down Ass Bitch like a few rounds earlier. I was weak. I was like, Ja Rule, really? You just performed a song called Down Ass Bitch like a few rounds earlier. But I didn't really catch it, I guess, during the battle when I actually watched it live. But apparently, Fat Joe, like, I don't know if it was before or after Lil Mo and Vita came on. At some point he was like, yo, like, but cause if Ja Rule was like, yo, Fat Joe, you got help, you got Remy to come help you, like. And then, but Fat Joe's like, oh, but you got them dusty bitches over there trying to help you. Like, they look like they just came out the crack house, like, right now. I really didn't hear it live at all, but apparently it was said, and I saw the footage, like, the next day. I was like, damn, Fat Joe, like, that was out of character for Fat Joe, but I don't think Fat Joe really meant it. I think he was just in battle mode, because Fat Joe is a gentleman. He's a great guy. He's not that type of person, but I think in that moment, he was just doing too much and got a little bit out of character. So, Fat Joe, I'm glad he apologized, but I wish he apologized actually on stage during the battle instead of like later on Twitter and stuff like that, but it is what it is. So yeah, shout out to Mo and Vita. We love y'all. Y'all are queens. We love y'all. I'm glad Joe apologized, but that should never happen. It was a little bit messed up, but they were both in a moment, so I guess some things happened and that's what happened, but it was fucked up, but that shouldn't happen, but it is what it is. So for this round, I gave it to Fat Joe for Don Cartagena. Thug Lovin' is cool, but for me, I felt like Don Cartagena just rang off better, so I gave round 8 to Fat Joe for Don Cartagena. And then we were on to round 10. For round 10, Fat Joe played his verse for the All I Do Is Win remix, and then Ja Rule played So Much Pain. Fat Joe kind of fucked up the round a little bit because after he went, he thought they were going to break, but it's like, nah, Fat Joe, like, Ja Rule still gotta respond to your song. So so Joe kind of fucked up a little bit, but it's all good. So after he plays All I Do Is Win remix, Ja Rule played So Much Pain. This is a cool round. I don't really know who to pick because all I do is win this song like more than So Much Pain, but I don't go to that song for Fat Joe's verse on the on his remix. So I gave this round to Ja Rule for So Much Pain, which I feel like as a whole song with Ja's presence on it, it's just better than Fat Joe's like one verse on All I Do Is Win. But shout out to Fat Joe for just showing that he's been a part of so many moments in hip hop, like being on All I Do Is Win. But I gave this on to Ja Rule. Let me know what y'all think. Alright, so after the break, we had round 11, and then we had Ja Rule starting off for the second half, and he played The Crown, and then he went into the Ain't It Funny remix with J-Lo, and then Fat Joe played Sunshine the Light, his latest record produced by Amorphous. Shout out to my guy Amorphous. I love that song. I love him. Shout out to Amorphous for getting a look out here with this record. And this record has a sample of a song that Amorphous, like a mashup that Amorphous did of Rihanna's Kiss It Better and Marvin Gaye's Never Too Much, which is such an amazing mashup. So yeah, I like Sunshine the Light. I love this record by Fat Joe. But for me, what I love about the song is really the production and the sample of the mashup that Amorphous did, more so than Fat Joe's verses, even though Fat Joe's verses were dope. So for me, I had to give this round to Ja Rule for the Ain't It Funny remix. Like, come on, like that record with him and J-Lo, classic. Like, it must be the air that got me like dang. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, that rings off anywhere you go. Like, so I had to give this round to Ja Rule, even though I love Sunshine the Light. One of Fat Joe's new records. I love it, but I had to go to Ja Rule for the, the Murda remix for Ain't It Funny. Ain't funny. Oh man, I love that song. I like Ja Rule and J-Lo had a good chemistry back in the day, just like him and Ashanti. And even though that situation was messy in terms of who got songwriting credits and all that stuff, and who was singing on records and who wasn't, that shit was messy. But besides all that, like the Ain't It Funny remix, as well as the I'm Real remix that I'll talk about later, yeah, like him and J-Lo were on a vibe back in the day. And those records still go crazy to this day, so I give it to Ja Rule. For round 12, we had Ja Rule play Down For You. I wanna be edgy, I wanna be down for you. You trust me, love me, it'll be romance, cause I'm your chick. Man, I miss those rap song collaborations the way they used to be back in the day. If it was, rappers and singers are still collaborating, but it's not how it used to be back in the day, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have that call response type vibe like we used to have back in the day. I miss that shit, you know what I'm saying? I miss that shit. So yeah, he played Down For You, and then Fat Joe plays So Excited, one of his new records featuring Dre of Cool and Dre. And that's a song that is cool, I like it, but don't nobody know that song. So of course, Ja Rule took this round easily with Down For You. That's a classic banger from the early 2000s that we all love. That's a song that the ladies will love, but the guys can still rock to as well. It's a banger. It definitely, I think it aged pretty well. So I give this round to Ja Rule for sure, no question. Next up we have round 13, and for round 13, Ja Rule played Destiny Outro, which I think was off the Veni Vedi Vici album, I think it was. And then Fat Joe played one of his newer records featuring Cardi B, and I think Dre as well, called Yes. I think that came out like a year or two ago. And listen, I know none of y'all really gave a fuck about the Yes record with Fat Joe and Cardi B, but I'm gonna be honest, I always appreciate that song. It's a really simple, dumb song, but I always appreciate it, and I always liked it, so I'm glad he played it. You know what I'm saying? Ass up, face down. Yes! Like, it's such a stupid song, but I rock with it, you know what I'm saying? I've always liked that song, so I give this one to Fat Joe for Yes. I just feel like that song was really underappreciated when it came out. Cardi B's verse was great as well. That song didn't get enough love when it came out. I definitely understand why, because I think a lot of people probably thought the hook was weak, and I get it, but to me it was a fun record. So I like the vibe of it. So I give this round to Fat Joe for Yes. Let me know what y'all think. Now we went to round 14. For round 14, Ja Rule played Rainy Days, his song with Mary J. Blige, and then Fat Joe played Another Round, his song with Chris Brown that came out like, I think like 2011 or 12, I think. I love that song. So even though Rainy Days was cool to me, but I love Another Round way more. So I give this round to Fat Joe. I love Chris's hook on that song, and I love, Joe's, smooth kind of Rick Ross vibe verses on that song. So I give this round to Another Round, no pun intended. Shout out Fat Joe. And now we're on to round 15, which is one of the hardest rounds of the battle. This is such a hard round. I had a hard time picking my winner. Ja Rule played Clap Back, which is, that's classic. That's the anthem right there. We gon' clap back. We gon' clap back. We gon' clap. Now, come on, that's crazy. Still goes up to this day. And then Fat Joe played I Won't Tell, his smooth, chill record with Jay Holiday from 2007. I love that song. That was like one of my middle school songs back then. I used to love that song. Baby, I won't tell. I wanna come back to you. Oh man, Jay Holiday, where you been at, bro? Shout out Jay Holiday. But yeah, I love I Won't Tell. I love both of these songs. I had a hard time picking. I really wanted to go with Fat Joe at first, but then I was like, even though I love I Won't Tell, I gotta go with Clap Back. Like, Clap Back just hits differently to this day. It hits different, you know what I'm saying? Clap Back can make a crowd go wild, whereas I Won't Tell is a smooth jam that you just revive to in your own space. It's a vibe. But to be honest, if I had to pick one, I have to go Clap Back. So this round went to Ja Rule for me, even though this is hard because I really love I Won't Tell, but I gave it to Ja Rule. Let me know who y'all picked for this round. All right, next up was round 16. Ja Rule played I Cry, his song with Lil Mo, I think off the Pain Is Love album. And then Fat Joe played Get It Poppin', and then he had Nelly come out and do his part on Get It Poppin', and then Nelly did Hot in Here right afterwards. I was weak when Nelly started performing Hot in Here. I'm like, is this a Nelly versus? Like, let me find out. But listen, I'm not mad at Nelly. Nelly say, listen, I don't know if he was already in New York already, but if he had to fly down, he probably was like, listen, I'm gonna make this flight count. I'm gonna perform my hits as well. Like, fuck it. I'm not mad at him. But yeah, so Nelly did his part and Get It Poppin', then he did Hot in Here. Really cool little mini Nelly set. It was cool, and I'm not mad that Joe, you know, Joe gotta use weapons, so he used Nelly as well. I'm not mad at him. It definitely works well. I Cry is cool, but for me, Get It Poppin', it's just a way better song that I still love to this day. I have more memories with it. I love it more. I feel like that's also a really underrated banger from back in the day. I used to love Get It Poppin'. Get it poppin'. I wish Get It Poppin' really rung off more often these days, because I still love that joint still to this day. And shout out to Scott Storch. And can we just talk about Scott Storch's run in the 2000s? This man was producing hits back to back in the 2000s. Like, shout out to Scott Storch, salute him. But yeah, man, shout out to Nelly and Scott Storch and Fat Joe for Get It Poppin', such a banger. So I obviously gave this round to Fat Joe for Get It Poppin', and bonus because we had Hot in here as well. Shout out to Ja Rule for I Cry, but Get It Poppin' still goes off to this day, so I picked that song for sure. And then we get into round 17, bruh. I was waiting for Shanti to pop out all verses. I was waiting for Shanti with bated breath. Then she finally came out around 17 and shut it down. Ja Rule played Mesmerize. One of my favorite songs of all time, low-key. I still love that song to this day. That song will never get old for me, I'm sorry. And then Fat Joe played What's Love. Ashanti was operating as a whole double agent out here. Helping Ja Rule out and then helping Fat Joe out with two of the biggest and best songs from that era. Oh my god, two amazing records. This is definitely one of the hardest rounds of the whole battle. I love Mesmerize and I love What's Love. Two of the best, you know, rap song collaborations of that time period. Both classic records, amazing records. I had a hard time picking, but I did eventually go with Mesmerize on this round because Mesmerize to me just hits a little bit differently. It hits just a little bit different than What's Love. What's Love is amazing, timeless, but Mesmerize, that song just has crack in it. I don't know what it is. Like, that song, the beat, the melody, the arrangement, it just has crack in it. So I went with not Fat Joe. I went with Ja Rule on this round. But if you went What's Love and Fat Joe, I'm not mad at you. But honestly, it don't matter because the real winner of this round was my girl Ashanti. Imagine being the winner of this round by yourself. Imagine being the winner of this round, and neither song is yours, but imagine me the winner of this round. That's what Ashanti was. That's what Ashanti was. Amazing. We love to see it. Amazing. But listen though, even though Ashanti was the winner of this round easily, even though she was the MVP of the night, at the same time, Ja Rule low-key really won this round, not only because of Memorize, but also because he really did help write What's Love, and he was on What's Love too. So even though like Mesmerize still won, but Ja Rule was even on What's Love, so Ja Rule really did win the round no matter what. Like, can we talk about it? And then after round 17, Fat Joe gonna come out here and come out with like these two big orange bags. I'm like, Fat Joe, here we go with the antics. And then he's like, can we get Remy and Ashanti out here, please? And then he gonna give Remy and Ashanti these two Birkin bags. And I'm like, Fat Joe, I'm like, all right. I'm like, okay, I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. You know, Fat Joe's like, listen, I'm gonna pull out stunts and y'all gonna see them. And I ain't mad. Like, Fat Joe's like, listen, we out here getting money. We out here getting paid. I'm gonna give these queens Birkin bags, you know, to show them love for coming out for me. And I'm like, Fat Joe, I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you at all. Ashanti Remy were like, oh, word? Appreciate it. Fat Joe said,
gifts, gifts, gifts. More gifts, more gifts.
And went right back to performing. I was like, I love this. This is hip hop. I love this. This is hip hop. I love it. All right, and then we got to round 18. One of the hardest rounds of the night. One of the best rounds of the night. We had Ja Rule play Always on Time. His other record with Ashanti, crazy record that we also love to this day. And then Fat Joe played Make It Rain. Oh my god, his record with Lil Wayne. Man, this is such a hard round. I had a hard time picking because I love both of these songs. Like, listen, I have so many memories of both records. Always on Time, classic, iconic. Make It Rain, like, just low-key still one of the best, like, strip club anthems, and just a really classic hip-hop banger still to this day. Like, Make It Rain hits different in terms of, if we're talking like timeless hip-hop bangers, Make It Rain is up there and it hits different. This is such a hard round. I can honestly not pick between these songs, so this is a tie for me. I could not pick. I really wanted to, but I just could not pick. I'm sorry, y'all. I couldn't pick one and it's just, it is what it is. And then we go into round 19. For round 19, we had Ja Rule play the I'm Real Murda remix with him and J-Lo. That song is one of the breeziest, chillest, vibiest records of the 2000s that we also love to this day. So many memories of that song. I love that record. And then Fat Joe gonna go ahead and play Lean Back by him and the Terror Squad. if we talk about timeless, iconic bangers that still go up to this day, Lean Back is like top 10, like of all time. Like Lean Back goes stupid still to this day. It goes bananas. So this is another hard round that I honestly cannot choose. I'm sorry, y'all. I could not choose. I was trying to pick, you know, for this round as well, but I really could not pick. So for round 19, it was a tie for me as well. It was a wash. It was a tie. I couldn't pick one. You know, round 18 and 19 were so iconic and so difficult because both of these, like the songs that they both each put up for each round were so different. Like Ja Rule gave us like two, like, you know, breezy R&B summery pop records with, you know, the female vocalists that were just crazy, you know, still iconic records that we all love to this day. Memories, you know, cookouts, barbecues, like classic chill records, you know what I'm saying, hit records. And then Fat Joe on the other hand was giving us like these classic hip hop bangers that still go up to this day with Make It Rain and Lean Back. Like you know, just a different vibe, like, you know, a harder, grittier vibe. But, you know, these are two different vibes on these rounds, but they're both necessary vibes. So I couldn't pick which one. If you guys had a winner for round 18 and 19, let me know. But I just couldn't pick a winner for each round because I feel like the vibes were different, but they're both necessary. I just couldn't pick one. So yeah, that was a tie for me as well from round 19. I couldn't pick one. But let me know what y'all thought about these rounds. And then we ended off the battle with round 20, which really was a tie anyways because they didn't really play different songs. They just ended off the battle by playing New York, which was so fitting. That's Ja Rule's song that has Fat Joe featured on it. So, you know, Fat Joe did his verse, and then Ja Rule did the hook in his verse as well. Great way to end the battle. It was very symbolic of like the love they both have for each other because they've collabed. And it was also a great way to end the battle off with it being in New York, you know, two New York based artists. I love the way they ended it. So that was dope. Neither of them won. It was a tie because they both played the same record. And that's cool. I love that. It was great to see. But the real winner of this round was obviously Jadakiss, who came out and surprised the crowd. I didn't know he was coming through, but shout out to Jadakiss. He is now the official Verzuz king. He's shown up in what, like 3 verses now, maybe even more. Like he had his own with Fab. He had him, you know, the Dipset and the Locks, and now he popped up at this Verzuz. Like, you know what I'm saying? Jadakiss is the freaking Verzuz king. Especially if we're talking New York Verzuz battles, Jadakiss will be there and he'll show up and he'll do his thing. So shout out to Jadakiss, the real MVP and the real winner of round 20. Came through, did his verse for New York. It was dope. I loved it. Shout out to Jadakiss. Good energy as always. Good energy. We love Jada. Shout out to him. So yeah, man, that was the battle. That was it. Alright, y'all, so that's my run through of the show, and I gave them my picks on who I thought won each round. So if you've been keeping score, you can see that my winner for this Verzuz battle was Ja Rule. And I knew that's how it would go. I don't think I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but I thought I had Ja Rule winning. Even though I love Fat Joe, I love Fat Joe down, I just thought Ja Rule would just take it out. And honestly, I gotta salute Fat Joe because even though Ja Rule still won for me, Ja Rule won 11, and to me I gave Fat Joe 6, and I had 3 ties. So to me it was 11 to 6 to 3. 11 Ja Rule, 6 Fat Joe, 3 were a tie. So maybe like 11 Ja Rule and then maybe 9 Fat Joe if you want to give Fat Joe those ties. So salute Fat Joe because Fat Joe literally just lost by a little bit. Like he lost by not that much. I think a lot of people might have thought it might have been a blowout, but shout out to Fat Joe because it definitely was not a blowout. I think Fat Joe surprisingly kept up his own. He kept his own, and even though Ja Rule got hits for days, Fat Joe was still coming with mad records that a lot of people probably like, oh, I forgot about that record. Like, oh, yeah, I love that record. Like, and he definitely did his thing during the battle as well in terms of, you know, his performance ability, his, you know, his charisma, his energy, his stage presence, his breath control, all that. He was definitely doing his thing. Ja Rule was doing his thing as well, but Fat Joe definitely came to show out and show y'all that y'all would sleep on him his whole career, and we have. So Fat Joe only lost by a little bit. So shout out to Fat Joe. But my winner definitely was Ja Rule. Ja Rule got hits for days, and even though there were a lot of rounds where surprisingly, you know, Fat Joe came through, it wasn't enough to just edge out the amount of hits that Ja Rule got to his name, man. Ja Rule didn't have to do much work. He didn't have to do much work. All he had to do was just show up and play his records, and that's what he did. You know what I'm saying? We love Fat Joe. Fat Joe is still relevant to this day. Such a big part of the culture. Even though Ja Rule's not like out here as much, you know, he's not out and about as much, like, you know, Ja Rule's records like still ring off to this day, and that was definitely shown with the battle. So yeah, man, Ja Rule was my winner, but not by a lot. So yeah, man, let me know who your winner was for the battle. Did you have Fat Joe? Did you have Ja Rule? Was it a tie? You know, by any chance, let me know. I'd love to know down below. And let me know what were your scores, or like who you thought was gonna win. Let me know if like the person you thought was gonna win actually lost by the time the battle was over. Let me know all that down below and more, okay? I really want to know that. Let me know all that down below. All right, and to end off the video, let me just talk about songs that I feel like they each could have pulled out that they didn't. For first up, let's go with Ja Rule. Ja Rule did not play Wonderful, his song with him and R. Kelly and I think Ashanti, and I definitely understand why. Fuck R. Kelly. And also Fat Joe didn't play We Thuggin' as well, his song with R. Kelly. That's one of his biggest records and he couldn't play that song as well. I honestly wish they would have just played the songs anyways because they're both such big records for both of them, but it's a shame that because of all of R. Kelly's bullshit, neither of them wanted to touch those records, but I really wish they did because those are both two of their biggest hits. And yeah, they both would have, I feel like they both would have rang off amazingly, even without R. Kelly's involvement. Like, just play, for Ja Rule, you definitely should play Wonderful, you know, play his part, play Shanti's part, and then, you know, for Fat Joe, he just should have played his part and We Thuggin' and let that ring off, and then that could have been what it was. But, you know, it's definitely fuck R. Kelly. It's annoying that this is where we're at, but yeah, so they didn't play those songs, but it's all good. I definitely understand why. And then going back to Ja Rule also did not play, I'm not mad he didn't play these because these weren't hits, but I would have loved to have seen him pull out The Pledge. That's like a posse cut that Murda and crew did back in the day that I love still to this day. I love that beat. I forgot who produced it, but I love that beat. And then another gem that wasn't a hit, but I love this song, Caught Up with him and Lloyd. I would have loved for Ja Rule to pull out Caught Up. I love that song. I love what Lloyd did on that hook. I love that record. So that would have been nice for me to see, but I'm not surprised he didn't pull that out. But for the most part, shout out to Ja Rule. Ja Rule played all of his hits. Like, he pretty much played all of his actual hits besides Wonderful. So Ja Rule got all the shit off. Shout out to him. And then for Fat Joe, besides We Thuggin', it would have been cool to maybe see Fat Joe pull out his verse on We Taking Over with DJ Khaled. You know, We Taking Over was a big song back in like 07, so maybe Fat Joe could have put out his verse for that song, but I'm not mad he didn't. And then also, this wasn't a big hit, but I feel like it's like a deep cut for Fat Joe's catalog, and that's Pride and Joy. Another big posse cut that had everybody on it. I think it had like Kanye on it. I think Tiara. I feel mad people were on this song back in the day, Pride and Joy, but I think that came out back in like 2012. But I love Pride and Joy by Fat Joe. I love that song. I love the beat. I think, yeah, Bink produced that beat. Shout out to Bink. I love that beat and I just love this song, so I really would have loved for Joe to pull that out, but I'm definitely not surprised he didn't pull it out. So yeah, man, so those are my thoughts, all the songs they could have pulled out, and that was my thoughts on all the shenanigans and the comedy and the hits that were flying for the Fat Joe and Ja Rule versus battle. Hope you guys enjoyed my review of it. Let me know, like I said, let me know what y'all thought about the battle down below. Did you guys love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was okay? Would you have preferred 50 and Ja Rule like me? Did you think this matchup was perfect? Would you have, you know, had maybe a different matchup? Let me know down below. I really want to know, okay? Appreciate y'all. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, okay? Thank you. And like I always say, guys, live your best life, drink more water, stay woke, and if you're mad or sad, go listen to your favorite song and make it feel better, okay? Go listen to your favorite song. Do what you gotta do, make yourself happy, go on a walk, listen to your favorite album, listen to, you know, watch your favorite TV show or movie, cook your favorite food, whatever you want to do, make yourselves happy, man. Find happiness where we can find it, I'm telling y'all, because we're going through too much out here, you know what I'm saying? And please stay safe, you guys. We're still in the panorama. Mask up, and please get vaccinated if you haven't already. I promise y'all, you guys will be okay. Please get vaccinated, okay? Alright, y'all. This has been your boy Bright, the R&B Kid. Thank you for watching, but for now, I'm signing off, baby. Bye, y'all. Peace.
I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no, 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 no. I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no, no, no. Relax just a little bit, you don't gotta worry, you can just